What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another Season 6 of the Universim, and we are in hard mode this time, so going in for the smallest planet straight away and the Halloween planet for the extra mobs. Coffin Dodger for the hardest trait, all down the right hand side for the actual difficulty on natural disasters, wild animal attacks, exile aggression. Planet seed, if anybody wants to play along, is 666, of course, and the nuggets are red like devils because I don't know. So, simple rules for this game so far. The settings are as hard as they can be, but there are some extra rules I'm putting in place to try and make it that a little bit harder. And they are as follows. So, we are not allowed to use any wrath spells. That includes the lightning, the meteors, the fire, and the tornado, I believe it is, and an earthquake. So none of the wrath spells are allowed to be used by me at any point throughout the game unless it is quest specific.
Take a look.
So defending ourselves with lightning strikes and fire is a no-go. We're going to have to think of other ways of doing it. Destroying the plants on the planet, we're going to have to think of another way of doing it. And also the giant Kraken boss that will come around the population of 100, we're going to have to think of another way of doing it. And lastly, the dome spell is banned also, so when we get disasters coming in, we'll have to hide the nuggets. We can't protect them with domes. That's inclusive of the meteor showers, tornadoes, anything that comes in from the exiles. We're not allowed to protect ourselves with a dome. Healing is allowed due to the traits. Okay, so back to the game. You can see the epicenter has been put down, and I have collected that skull, or what technically is a mystery box as per. And I also got them some food just to be nice. They are building the first house and we are into the research already. If there are any ideas about making it even harder, please let me know and I'll see if I can add them. The rules I've done, I've thought about it best I can. I was going to try and make it a run with just no spells, but it just seems not too hard, but the game's not designed for that, I don't think. Hopefully modding will be a thing soon and we'll be able to do it a different way, like you use the spells a lot, right? So I want to make sure that we don't break the game by doing things that make it that it's impossible. So yeah, there's a lot of rinse and repeat at the beginning. The guy's voice, as you've already probably known if you've played this mode before, is awful. He's supposed to sound scary, because it is a Halloween map. I don't know why they've kept it on, actually. I thought it was just specifically for Halloween, but clearly not. And there is the Surlaps, which are the vines all over the planet, and they will cause us a lot of problems moving forward. I've already had the trouble of bumping into those, because you know your nuggets walk off in random directions. Now they'll get eaten by Sorlax. And then at about the 100 population mark or thereabouts, there is a giant Kraken to contend with as well that releases undead hordes. Renaming the two babies there, the twins, you have to name them, so I called the first one Pum and the second one Kin. For Pumpkin for the planet.
Let's see how much you like them.
Now we'll just get down now the first building that you research, or you should be researching, and that is the water pumps. Water pumps into water reservoirs to get your water stocked up for the winter so that you're not making people ill unnecessarily, and the survivability is increased dramatically. I will be doing a lot of telekinesis, picking up stones and wood to get these buildings going, because infrastructure is what we need. Now, our nuggets do not die per se, or at least they certainly don't die the first time. Each time they die, they lose some hit points, and it looks like, from what I've seen, it's 20. So they'll go down to, or it might be 10. I don't know. They lose some hit points anyway, so their max hit point pool reduces, and then at some point they turn into a zombie. Now, they are not able to be cured, and you have to deal with them, and by deal with them I mean kill. For me, without guard towers, I'm going to have to try and use telekinesis and throw them on the other side of the planet. The ones that they turn can be cured, but only by divine power, which is the main reason I've allowed that power to stay. If I was to do this with any other trait, I would have indeed banned the healing as well. So going into a quest here, we have a nugget with a broken leg. It's the quest, and again, quests, any and all spells are allowed. So like when the UFO finally turns up, Big Bird I think it's called, lightning will be required there, but that is all. You can see the Surlac there is one of them. There is probably 10 to 20 all over the planet, and they do need to be dealt with. The way I'm decided to do it is I'll deal with them as and when I start getting messages that they're killing my nuggets. Up until that point, I'll leave them alone. Now, it does appear that you can kill them without the wrath spells, which is a good thing, because I thought I was going to have to leave them. But it means dropping things on them, i.e. stones. The size of the stone matters, and it takes forever. And I mean forever. But it does work, and it makes sense, because if you drop stones and resources on a nugget, it also does the same.
You can prioritize.
So going into another quest now, backbreaking work. I don't want to talk about the quests per se, because by now, if you're watching my series or seasons, we're on 6, and I'm pretty sure you've got it by now. So I'm just going to speed up this process, which is what I'm doing anyway, to speed up the building. The guy's voice is really irritating, so I've got no problem talking over him in this season, unlike previous seasons where I try and leave him on his own. Now, in this series, there is going to be something that I'm going to try and do. Well, I'm not going to try and do it. I am going to do it, and it's the opposite to what we did in the last series. And that is that the guard towers are going to be very, very crucial, and also bunkers are going to be critical. I have no way of defending the nuggets against any of the natural disasters, whether that be meteors, tornadoes, whether it be anything at all. I can't use the dome. And I can't deflect any of the problems. So the only option we've got is to build many, many bunkers to allow them to survive any of those ailments. Now, building a lot of bunkers has its own downsides, and that is it pisses everybody off and makes everybody into criminals, apparently. So we'll also need to build a crap ton of shops and parks to make everybody happy. Also, I expect the hospitals to be important. I can heal people, but I'd like to have a few more hospitals down this time. If you remember last season, we managed the entire series with one hospital in the home base, the home planet, sorry. But also, this planet is as small as you can get. It's not default, it's smaller. So I expect this to run out pretty quick. I expect the resources to run out pretty quick. I expect that we will need to bring resources in from other planets. Which sounds complicated, but also maybe doable. We'll have to wait and see.
Are you sure that nugget's up to the task?
For research, it's the same priorities that I've always done. Water, food, farms, hospitals, and then the burial. And then now you can see I'm actually going in towards the watchtower to get the defensive towers built. The idea behind them, and actually yet to see if they work, but I believe they will. So all of the wolf attacks that you get, and because it's on the highest level, it sends sort of 5 to 10 wolves on each attack, which is insane. And also the zombies, when they do turn, if my city is surrounded by watchtowers, I'm hoping that they'll take the zombies out before they turn anymore. Maybe. We don't have a defensive, so the exiles attacking us, I can't do what I normally would, along with all the other things as well. Now I can use telekinesis, pick them up and drop them, but it's not very efficient.
That's the nugget who won the election?
In with the cemeteries now, they're researched, and that will mean that we can keep a quiet and clean civilization with no corpses lying all over the place. Again, if this zombie thing does pop off, you will be dealing with a lot of corpses. So it's a good idea to keep that clean, but also the boss as well, the Kraken boss, releases a lot of corpses too. If any of you have got any ideas on how to do a series that's more difficult than this one, or any edits to this one that you can think of, please do let me know and I'll add them in. I did try to make it as difficult as possible. And there are some mods, but none of them yet, which make it harder. In fact, the only mods I can find that you can get working with this make it easier. And that's not what we need. Jumped a bit forward here, certainly through the winter, because it's painful on the eyes. We've had this discussion before, or at least I've explained it before. I did start marking all of the nuggets that had the trait, the zombie trait, with brains, because it makes sense, right? And it's what they shout when they are zombies. But every time they die and reincarnate, it takes it off them. So I realised that wasn't going to work and stopped. Now we're looking at getting the new 𝐷𝐿, the child that is kidnapped by his parents. Again. And upon grabbing him and sending him back, that unlocks some more parks as well. And I am going to make sure that these parks are built ASAP, which means we need to get the second tier materials, planks and bricks. We have a lot of guard towers and bunkers to counteract with happiness and crime. So all of the parks and quests that will give us parks, I'm going to make sure I do, just to keep everybody happy, but also safe. Fishing hut's now working. The food is showing 0, but that's not something that's too difficult to deal with. Pick up any old whale or something, chuck it down and give him 100 food. So we'll get to that if he says so. But the fishing hut's just finished, so we should be okay. Rushing in the town hall. As soon as that's built, we can get a governor in there, and then all of these buildings that are missing nuggets can be populated if we have the right availability for them. It will always give us some spare nuggets as labourers to make deliveries. I just scoured the entire planet, and that is the 4th one of these boxes to collect. Remember, in the Halloween world maps, it's a giant skull, not a meteorite that you have to break open to get the boxes. But yeah, I scoured the whole planet. You can see there's 𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐒s everywhere.
The birds are conspiring against you, Creator.
But no more of them. So 4, and I got 1 right at the beginning, so that's 5 I've had so far. I can't use the meteor spell, so I'm not going to be able to put any down for myself. Of course, if anybody uses a meteor spell on us, that will also give us a free box, but likely at the expense of a lot of buildings and nuggets lives. The wood refinery and the stone refinery is now finished as well, so we'll get them chucked down. That will give us the planks and the bricks, which will allow us to start doing the parks, because that is the first level you need to build any of the parks. There are no parks you can build before that. And of course upgrades that will come in shortly too.
Of course.
Just looking over the area now, we can see we've been going for 33 days. Only 15 nuggets, 2 children, and a lot of buildings that require building. We are very, very far behind in terms of
Have you read the instructions
just
properly?
basic economics, really.
How it works.
I do have some points left over, so I am going to use them to make sure people are falling in love. I want them to get married and have children so that our population increases quickly. Same trick as always, double clicking with the 𝐔𝐿𝐴𝐒 spell works nicely each time. Paying attention to the ones that light up pink or blue, because they are singles and need a partner. If they don't light up, they're already in a relationship, so that's not going to be as efficient as doing it to the ones that are pink or blue in their respective couples. So I've jumped forward here, probably 10-15 days, something like that. I'm still doing the breeding. You can see we've doubled the population. It's now 36 with 4 children, and a lot of the buildings are indeed finished. Now for the 𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐒s, or anything really that is on the offensive to us, for us to defend them, this is how I'm fighting back. Grab a rock and throw it at them. The 𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐒s take quite a while. Now I will need to do this as well with the expedition camp, which the 𝐶𝐿𝐴𝐒 is much larger than this, and it does still work, but it takes forever. Now obviously, for the way that I'm playing this is the only option I have that can do damage as far as I'm aware. If I'm wrong, please someone correct me. I have picked up multiple rocks to see if that sped it up. It does not. In fact, half the time it misses. You have to kind of go a little bit past where the red circle is that says that you're no longer on him, and that seems to, or her, and that seems to work. When you kill them, they just remain there but don't come up anymore. You can't build the expedition camp on them or any of those. The expedition camp has to be built on the main one as the quest line. Again, that quest line will happen at some point, but we can't use wrath spells to kill that. And normally it takes, I think, about 6 lightning bolts. But unfortunately for me, in this game mode, about 300 million thousand stones. Now, that's an exaggeration, obviously. You will see, though, that it's quite painful. Though it's doable, and it is harder, and you lose a lot of nuggets in the process. But we will get there, and we'll look at that when we do get there. But in the meantime, throwing stones at baddies does work so far. So, with the defense towers researched and no defense minister yet unlocked, I will do this myself. Though the way that the defense minister does it, it does it on the outskirts. Now, I really want to try and colour in my entire settlement so the whole thing is covered by green. That means that at any point, every area of the settlement will be covered by a bowman. I believe it's a bowman or a spearman. I'm not actually sure. I think it's a spearman, actually. But yeah, you can see I'm trying to colour in every area. And the idea of this, and I still don't know actually if this works as well as I want it to, but any zombies appear, they will be dealt with quite swiftly. Now, I am putting one here right up to the water's front, because it is the water's front that the zombie hordes come from when we get to the boss round. So I'm just planning a little bit ahead there. Also, just to make sure that the actual nuggets that turn into the zombies based on the reincarnation, which can't be cured, are dealt with and they don't spread as much. The ones that are poisoned by that can be cured, but they will be killed by the towers if I don't get there quick enough. So that's on me or you if you're playing along, to make sure that your guards don't kill the guys that can be cured. That being said, I'd rather lose 5 nuggets than my entire population. And the coffin dodger trait will indeed wipe out, very similar to... and this is what happened from the test one that I did, just to see what they're like. If you've played the game Billions, I think it's called, We Are Billions or something like that. Very similar to that. As soon as one zombie touches a house, then it exacerbates down to everybody being a zombie. And before you know it, you've got no nuggets left and it's game over. So that is to stop that from happening. And then the bunkers, I'm hoping, are for everything else. So natural disasters, attacks. Even if there's a zombie horde, can I make them hide in the bunkers so they don't get more zombies? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I've got to be more defensive because I can't be offensive. And on the same train of thought, you can see I'm throwing down now parks wherever I can fit them. These are counteracting the guard towers and the bunkers, but also any of the other buildings that give them depression. Obviously, though, I'm not going to be building lots of them sort of buildings. It's the guard towers that's my biggest concern, because I genuinely want every single part of my town, city, planet covered in green, so as soon as a zombie pops up, deleted. Now over here, we've just seen that somebody has been killed by the 𝐔𝐿𝐴𝐒, the wild 𝐔𝐿𝐴𝐒, and someone else there. And this is what we said. I'm going to leave them alone until they start dealing actual damage. So over here, you just find the odd stone. Luckily, you can reuse the stones, though there are rare occasions where I've seen them just vanish. Maybe they fell down the hole, who knows. But it does work, as you can see. Now, the damage that they do does seem random. The larger stones do seem to deal more damage, but then sometimes they don't. So I'm not sure if it's how they're landing as well. It's probably a sort of aiming thing that's the issue. But it works. Chucking an animal at them doesn't, as you just saw. And trees don't work either. And pretty much anything else I can think of as well. I used water as well for an attempt, but it didn't work. So, rocks, stones, yes. That is our attack for this entire series. Hopefully, I won't have to do it very often. Now, when we get to that giant planet cracker situation and we have to defend our settlement against that, we ain't going to be throwing rocks at it. So the guard towers are going to have to do all the work there, or we're going to lose half the planet in doing so. But that's for a very long time in the future. Between now and then, we still need to consider learning a few more bits and bobs about where we're at. Coming back a little bit later on, just in time. We do actually have a problem with our people being unhappy, but that's of course because we have more of the negative buildings than the positive, and we are under attack. The only way I know to defend them at the minute without the defense towers is picking them up and throwing them. It's not a wrath spell, it's not an offensive spell, it's just the best I've got. Now most of them land in the water, which pollutes it. If you feel that I shouldn't do that, let me know, and I will of course do that. Or not do that, should I say. But for now, that's fair game per the rules. And you will see coming up, probably not in this episode, but certainly the next, that they send a lot as another attack is coming in now also. So it's very monotonous, and you can see there's more and more. Now, my guys, luckily, are good at defending themselves, and I'll need to concentrate on them getting their might up. But remember also, because of the trait of the coffee dodger, their HP is lower. So a lot of them die easier. Because of that, I've got someone like 45, 55 HP, which is half of what they start with. So I see that as quite significant. But this is where we're at for episode 1. This is where we've got to, and this is how we're moving forward. The rules are set in place, but I am open to any edits or changes if you feel you can think of something that's pretty clever. There are some big bosses to fight. I'm not sure how that's going to go. We shall see. But we are going to call it here because we are at time. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please click like. Any comments are welcome as always. Subscribe for more. Join us on Discord. And don't forget to use the comment section to let me know any changes you want me to make. Thanks again. Take care. Goodbye.
What an event creator. Grab a chair and some popcorn.